Hi, everybody, and welcome to Burnout Culture. The industry sucks. And you know, it's thriving in some places, but so are we. And I guess we're thriving in some ways too, but my name is Kazuma Hashimoto. I'm one of 3 hosts.
My name's GC Vasquez, and I almost said my old handle.
Hello, I'm Cullen. I've been playing Switch 2 nonstop 3 week. I haven't left my room since I got it. What's up?
Oh man, so I guess we can just start talking about the Switch 2, right? Because that's a great
That's the
segue into that
strongest, yeah.
conversation. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really, really strong segue. I don't have a Switch 2. I dream about it. I dream about having the Switch 2, but then I remember that I barely played my Switch, like, at all. There's something about portable gaming on a thing that isn't my phone that just doesn't stick with me. But you've been playing a lot of games, you and GC, on the Switch 2.
I think GC has probably picked up a couple of games and he was like, this Switch 2 is pretty alright. I have the only thing I have touched since this came out is Switch 2. Switch 2 is my life now. This thing can play Cyberpunk, and you play it on a 4K TV, and it's almost like you can't tell you're playing a Switch. It's crazy.
It is
Okay.
incredible that system runs Cyberpunk at like a smooth frame rate at a good resolution. I doubted it. I had all
It's
the
magic.
doubts until they put out the gameplay demos, obviously.
I saw how good it ran because Cullen was really determined to show me
I thought it'd be
just
funny.
how well it ran. Like, you were fighting with OBS. Like,
I did it for you.
thank you. And you know what? I'm literally in a state of fucking awe that it performs better than it did on launch on like my beefy ass PC. That game was busted.
Oh
It
yeah.
was fucking busted. And I think that game only had a turnaround on the merit of CD Projekt Red being popular among all audiences because of The Witcher. Like, people that are really, progressive about video games and people that are really racist and sexist also all love CD Projekt Red. So they were able to really turn that one around. No, it's true.
It is
That
It's
is
true.
true.
Everybody
Gamers like them.
Yeah. Yeah. People that play videos, like, I don't really care either way. I've had my experiences with them at game shows and shit, and it was just like the joke among me and other press was, what CD Projekt Red employee is going to hit on me this year? So yeah. Dude, I'll tell you after the podcast, because no one needs to know that story, but like, it was like a thing for like 2 years or whatever. You know Alex, right? RPG site.
Yeah.
1 year he literally got Jake a press pass because people were hitting on me so much the previous year in like really inappropriate ways that he was like, your boyfriend's gonna go with you this year. And then the former social manager for CD Projekt Red literally pulled me to the back so other people couldn't be weird to me. So I was given extremely special treatment because of things that had happened in previous years. So that is my experience with Cyberpunk, other than writing that one article that people talk about and like reference in their academic papers sometimes. But gameplay looks fucking phenomenal. I can't believe it. It's amazing.
I'm really liking it this time around. Like, I don't know. Like, it's cool that I could just take my PC save and slap it onto my Switch and then immediately just get going. I've played like I think did I say Switch or whatever. I played like a couple hours on PC. I was like, oh, this is pretty
Mhm.
all right. And then ever since I got the Switch 2 version, I've I put like 18 hours into it in the last like couple weeks, which isn't, that much, but for someone with a job, that's like 100
Yeah.
hours of gaming.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I'm just jumping back and forth between a bunch of different games on this. I think initially, first weekend was just playing a bunch of Switch games. And there's some very interesting things we found with like backwards compatibility. Like, it's just straight up fixes some like early Switch ports that were just really jank and kind of bad. Like,
Can you elaborate? Because I don't play the Switch.
well, like Dragon Quest Builders 2, for example, always ran really bad on the Switch, and then someone might go like, oh, cool, it's just a janky, bad, unoptimized game. But it turns out what they did for a game like that was they like capped out the resolution and unlocked the frame rate and so there was no chance the Switch would have ever been able to do that. But you play it on a Switch 2, and it's one of the more like one of the most crisp games you could play, and it runs at 60 FPS like locked pretty much. And so there's a lot of cases like that.
Especially Koei Tecmo stuff.
Oh yeah. The best things you're gonna get with backwards compatibility are games that aimed for resolutions the Switch could not maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And then had an uncapped frame rate, because then it'll just be able to hit like max resolution 60 FPS. But there's still like a lot of instances where a game looked good, could barely hit the 30, and now you just have a really clean, solid 30. So it was a very interesting thing to just go through like my ridiculously large library of Switch games and just to see what like looked good and what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I so much that I had to stop myself because I wasn't actually making any progress on the games that came out for the system that I should have been playing.
Like what exactly?
Rune Factory, Bravely Default, and Cyberpunk. I bought the Switch 2 version of Suikoden HD. I think those are the main ones. There's like a lot of other stuff, but I just didn't. Oh wait, Yakuza fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yes, yes,
This is gonna be a
yes.
good podcast.
Yeah.
Also, I got the Sonic X Shadow port. We had a spare code at RPG site, so they chucked it my way, and I played it, and I'm like, yep, 60 FPS Shadow Generations on a portable. That shouldn't be real. Feels wrong, but it feels good to be wrong.
We talked for people that don't have a Switch 2 yet and don't know or haven't really like grasped it yet.
Me.
Which, by the way, props to, and I hate doing it, props to Nintendo for like the fact that it seems like Switch 2 stock was pretty reasonably like plentiful. A lot more people got Switches than I thought were going to get Switches.
Especially for the like compared to the Switch 1 launch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
GC and I both actually went to the Best Buy midnight launches in our respective states.
Correct.
We had very interesting, completely different situations with that because GC lives in a small town.
I do.
And it took him, I think, like 15 minutes to go pick up his Switch and go home.
Opening, yeah.
Whereas I'm in a big tourist town. But because of that, I was able to find out that my Best Buy had 150 extra Switch 2s just to sell to people who hadn't pre-ordered. But my lines were really big. So even though I pre-ordered, I had to wait a while. And then I had to wait for my friend who went with me because like I brought my friend of the channel, Wayne, his boss.
Hey, Wayne.
I was like, hey, can you like come with me so I don't get like stabbed and mugged and killed on my way back to my car? And he was like, yeah, sure. Because like, again, I had no idea there would be so many leftover Switch 2s. I thought, because I was told by like someone who worked there, it's like, no, there's not going to be any left. So I was like, fuck, there might be people like, desperate, Nintendo fans. They want their Mario Kart. They'd kill for $80 Mario Kart.
People were getting stabbed over PlayStation 4s, remember?
I don't remember that, but like, I believe it.
People were getting stabbed over PlayStation 4s.
The scalpers were in full force as well.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. Although I haven't heard a lot about scalpers for the Switch 2 launch, thankfully.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's been pretty chill. I don't think you can go get one now, but for that first weekend, if you wanted a Switch 2, you could go get one.
There was a pretty reasonable chance that you'd be able to find a Switch 2 somewhere.
Like, it's funny that I saw people like around that weekend just being like, so ridiculous. I can't even like go get one. And I just would think like, are you looking? Like, did you just assume that there wouldn't be any?
Go for a drive.
Yeah.
See if they got them in stock. Usually they have a big sign up front. So you can just go in and see the sign and go, oh, and then walk out. And for people that don't get like the performance difference, when we were speculating about the Switch 2's performance back before it came, when they had just like announced it or whatever, or even before that, Cullen and I have talked about Switch 2, like what the spec should be. And like
years
for a while. Yeah. And like, I always thought like a Switch 2 would just be up to parity with like a PS4 or something. Like it would still be sort of like not as powerful as other stuff, but it would be good enough and then would very quickly sort of become outdated again. Cullen was more optimistic, and I'm happy to say that Cullen was right about this. And
Yeah, I was saying like it's going to be the PS6
Mhm.
on the go. Like they're breaking new grounds, and I was totally right. It's the
Yeah.
most powerful thing on the market right now. But
I
no, like, sorry, go.
as long as they don't muck it up by trying to like really stress the console out as much as they can, as long as people develop for the Switch 2 within its parameters, that console will have a much better late in its life cycle experience than the Switch 1 did. And I think the Switch 2 will actually hopefully have a much longer lifespan than the Switch 1. Just because I
So
think it runs a lot better in a lot of cases, and I think it actually like in some cases I think it performs certain things better than other consoles on the market currently.
yeah, I was watching the Digital Foundry video on Cyberpunk, and I really think right now Cyberpunk is the graphical showcase for this thing. This kind of shows what this
Without
thing
a
is
question.
roughly capable of at its like most. And we might see something, that goes past that. We don't know yet. It's still early on. But they said that Cyberpunk on Switch 2 was basically comparative to the Series S version of the game.
Mhm.
And that's really impressive. Like, yeah, you'll have issues where apparently in like the DLC expansion, like the new area just drops frames and is not as stable as the rest of the game, but it still
Okay.
seems like it's totally playable. But what I'm very curious to see long term is that I think we've all kind of noticed how the industry's obsession with fidelity is causing them to like just causing it to implode in on itself.
They love hitting
And
bottlenecks as soon as possible now.
yeah, and
They don't cruise in like standardization. They want bottlenecks. They want bottleneck.
and
Sorry.
no, you're right though, because like it's totally like a fruitless endeavor because we're doing all this to chase like graphics, which means we have to make these games more expensive. It costs more to make these games, and I'm hoping that the modest limitations of this console kind of gets the industry to scale things back, especially if this console ends up being a success. Because I'm playing Cyberpunk, and in my mind, I'm like, I don't need games to look much better than this. Like, I don't need these games that are literally burning studios to the ground just to get made. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think
and
photo telemetry was a mistake.
it's
Yes.
and like the Switch 1 showed that there's a lot of different varieties of games you can put on. It was great for cheaper, like lower budget games to get a big spotlight and a big audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for like adventure games, indies. So it's just I need Nintendo to not shoot themselves in the foot. And it really sucks that I have to be like, oh, Nintendo, please save us, because monopolies suck. But oh my god, the rest of the industry loves shooting themselves in the foot.
Yes.
I'm looking at like the behavior of Sony and Microsoft as of late, and I just like, you guys just don't want money.
Breaking news: Sony to end all live service. Wait, hold on, hang on. I'm getting a new transmission.
Yeah.
Sony is back on live service games. They've changed their minds.
The fucking shit with Marathon is so like, oh, we're
Well,
watching.
that's also because they plagiarized the fuck out of somebody.
Oh yeah. But also like well, that's the great thing, is that like that is one, it's not wonderful that it happened, but hilarious that they like got called out for that. But it's like, it's not like you can say that's the one thing wrong with Marathon. Like the alphas were apparently very unpopular. They weren't
Everybody
clear
hated
about like the
everything.
price,
Yep.
the plagiarism, like everything that could go wrong with Marathon is going wrong. And there was that like I saw people post about it. There was like that interview about them announcing that they're like putting all their support to get Marathon launched. And it's just like, yeah, the way that people like talk about these live service games, they've stopped saying the words fun. Like fun is not in the vocabulary of the people that makes these games. And it's just like, I think I'm good. I don't need that.
It's pretty
Like-
bad when your marketing towards your consumer is here's our business model. Here's what our business model is going to look like. Here's how your financials are going to be affected by Marathon.
We can't
it's
wait
like-
to fuck you with all these little monies you will be spending on our gun shoot game.
Yeah, it's
You're
like,
a stupid little gun shoot piggy and you want to give us your money, don't
squeal
you?
for daddy.
Squeal like a little piggy, like a greasy little piggy as you give us all your money forever. Wait, no. Why'd you leave?
You could workshop that into a Phil Spencer impression, probably.
Hold on. Well, see, okay, whenever I do the Phil Spencer voice, because I do have one, like when you do an impression and you have to say a mantra to yourself to get
Yes,
into character,
yes.
mine is
Here at
always
Xbox.
the power of X.
Oh, I used to have a channel point redeem where I would pitch a game like Phil Spencer. It was the funniest shit ever. Yeah, I'm
We've
not
got
kidding.
10 million teraflops of doodle bop, and we're gonna make this system soar.
My favorite was a pitch of Microsoft having the next Final Fantasy game. And it was, I literally put on like a plaid button up. I walked out on camera and was like, we at Xbox are happy to announce that we will have the next generation of Final Fantasy games on our console. And to celebrate this momentous occasion, we've brought the man himself here, Hironobu Sakaguchi-san. And it was just like, yeah, it was just that, just like what would they try to do, right?
We at Xbox are committed to Final Fantasy. Tabata-san, what you doing over there?
Phil Spencer, Jeff Keighley, and David Lynch walk into a room and all start talking at the same time.
Hello, David.
Hey,
See,
David.
Cullen, you
Hello,
sound like
Phil.
David
Hey,
Lynch.
Phil.
Yeah.
Hey, boys.
Oh
Who
my
we-
god.
Who we robbing today?
They're like a little heist gang. They
Yeah.
rob banks together. Put
David,
the money
we're
in the
gonna
bag.
need you to be the driver.
Folks, if you can believe it, this is a robbery.
David,
Oh my
where were you?
fucking
I
God.
went to the Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee. Davy needy coffee.
David.
Anyway,
Lynch would shoot
welcome.
those two where
Thank
they
you for
stand.
listening to
Anyway.
our Pressure Hour. But yeah, I like GC. Like overall, what do you think of your Switch 2? Because I feel like we could springboard into SGF really quick.
Yeah, so real quick, Switch 2 is great. It convinced me to finish Pokemon Arceus. Switch 1 games that don't have upgrades, your mileage is going to vary, like I expected. But Arceus is great. I have nothing else to say other than it's a good console. There isn't a lot to play on it in terms of like brand new titles. So if you're interested in the lineup that Nintendo announced, like Metroid Prime, Donkey Kong next month, you can wait a while. Like if you don't have one and they're out of stock right now, I'll be honest, you're not missing out on much if you have other ways to play those games that are on the Switch 2. Like just wait a while. There's probably going to be a bundle in the holidays so you can get, a bunch of games that are new for it or whatever. And one footnote is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a video game now.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
Oh, it's a real video game?
as
Yeah,
a real video game.
My only complaint is that they upgraded the frame rate and resolution, and that's awesome. But now that the game runs better, you can actually how poorly made that game is even better. Like
Oh.
they polished it up, so now you can see like I'm like watching terrain morph and warp into the shape it's supposed to be as I get closer to it. And it's really aggressive. It's not like a render distance thing. It's like I'm talking like 10 feet away from my character. I'm watching like a rectangle become a slope. Like it's pretty aggressive. And I hope they throw in another patch to fix that at some point. But or
putting
that the next
all my
Pokemon game
eggs-
doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, in the ZA basket.
Yeah,
I like recently I was watching like a bunch of people play, like Scarlet Violet. I haven't been able to really get back into it myself, but I was impressed by what I played. And I was just like, oh, you are going to be so good on the Switch 2 ZA.
Yeah.
you're gonna be a real ass video game. Because with ZA, you look at it and go, okay, this was a Switch 2 game that they made primarily that will also
Mhm.
be out on Switch.
Yeah.
You think they're actually going to cancel the Switch version?
No,
No.
no. I'm just saying, like,
They are going to
Oh.
charge you more for the Switch 2 version though. Which
yeah,
is
it's like a $10
bullshit to me.
upgrade pack. But the point is, this seems like it was made with modern hardware in mind.
Yeah, please continue to stylize your games on the Switch 2. Please do not try to push the limits of the Switch 2. I cannot stress this enough. As a power user, I do not care to play video games that make my computer scream. I buy the good computer so that games don't make it scream. That's the
Yes.
point. I don't
Having said that,
want
though,
it to do that.
Metroid Prime 4 looks really good. And apparently it runs at like
4K 120 or
4K 60.
Yeah. 1080 120, which that's great. That's awesome. But Metroid Prime, believe it or not, stylized game.
It's
Let's
a
not
bit
get it
more
twisted.
to realistic than Pokemon Z.
It is. But like,
yeah,
like,
but it's still
you know,
stylized. It's not like cyberpunk hyper-realism.
Also,
you
it's
know,
hard to.
The witchy.
I'm not talking to Nintendo specifically because Nintendo usually the way they make, I don't know what they do. Maybe Monolith Soft is on a hamster wheel, like powering the polish machine. I'm talking more to like third parties, because first party Nintendo games tend to run pretty well, except for like some areas of the Zelda games that are on Switch. But like otherwise, it's like Nintendo games run good on their hardware. I'm more focused on like telling third party people, if you're going to put your game on Switch 2, for the love of God, like it can run games pretty well. Just like do a reasonable cap, do a reasonable resolution that looks good, that runs well, that's smooth. Like, please do not just copy paste your game into that console. Like, please tweak it so that it runs well on the console when you do your Switch ports. Because one of the biggest problems with Switch 1 was that your third party ports were so fucking unoptimized.
It's not going to take us long really to start seeing those ports start like coming out, which is exciting.
Mhm.
Like next month we'll be getting that Wild Hearts S port, and I'm really excited for that. God, welcome back to the We Didn't Like Monster Hunter Wilds cast.
Welcome back.
Oh my god. I mean, everybody was fucking pissed at me for my review, and then when the game came out, they were like, "Oh, I understand." So I guess take that.
It's really funny.
Like-
They apparently put out a new update that made the game run worse.
Sorry.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. I think James was talking about it.
Mhm.
Oh my god, let me rubs my face. So yeah, that game is kind of in like a really dire state right now. Like, I haven't even checked the update schedule like I usually check most Monster Hunter games, because I'm not interested in playing this. It's just not fun. Wilds is just not fun. You know what was fucking fun? Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts is so interesting because of its like weird Fortnite-esque building mechanic and all the strange parkour shit you could do. The perfect parries, the actual like amount of skill involved in the game, like the character and weapon weights. It's so good. And you guys haven't played it, have you?
I haven't.
No, I'm waiting for this version because like it's exciting because not only does Koei Tecmo have their like IP back with this version, because EA did the original, right? Or was that
So they
Activision?
published it. They published it under EA Originals.
Yeah.
So they still owned the rights to Wild Hearts. But I suspect, and this is just like off the top of my head because of the way I know like the industry works, this is not like an actual like this is the way it was. It didn't sell the amount that Monster Hunter did, so EA just kind of gave up on it.
Yep.
Right?
And they just kind of relinquished it to them.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they
That
don't
makes total
understand that
sense.
game was fucking good. And KT games, they don't sell as much as Capcom games usually, right? That's just kind of like that's
the
an
reality.
impossible standard to meet,
Yeah.
right?
And they have they're like typically modest successes. They were going
Yeah.
crazy over the like the Atelier Ryza game selling 1 million copies. Like that was a huge deal.
As we're going to talk about Neo later, but I literally didn't think Neo 3 was going to happen because they said that the Neo games didn't sell enough.
Yeah. I'm so happy that
And-
Koei Tecmo is making games that aren't. I love Dynasty Warriors, but I'm so glad that they're like their lineup coming up is just like stuff that is not Dynasty Warriors.
Yes.
It's setting in that in like less than a month there will be a hunting game on this console with Wild Hearts. That's really fun. That's exciting.
Is true.
And
That
no
is
Monster
true.
Hunter, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
But like
Ooh.
that's really good timing for Koei Tecmo, because the Monster Hunter crowd on handhelds, if I understand correctly, is
hungry.
It's pretty big. Like that's
It's
where Monster
huge.
Hunter's that's Monster Hunter's house for a while.
It was, yeah. And just to put it into perspective, when Rise came out, Japanese companies were literally telling employees, if you just want to take time off because we know you're not going to come in, just fucking do it.
Yeah. Like who the fuck are we kidding?
But I'm excited.
I think you're going to be a real sicko, Cullen. I think you're going to get real sick with it.
Let me know if you get it, and then we can play together, and then we'll never actually play together, and you'll just abandon me like you've done with every other game that we've bought in the last 2 months.
Oh my god, GC, we are literally going, like, after this podcast, I will literally like stop like doing my hard work covering games just to play
He's talking about multiplayer games. Rattle them, boys.
No Man's Sky?
Gorgo No Man's Sky with you. But also, like, let's just both sign up for the content creator code for Wild Hearts, and then let's just play together.
Yeah, just tell them you'll go fucking sicko style with their game, right? You're like, I want this game to succeed. Yeah.
I'll tell them I've been a
Wild
fan
Hearts
of
was so
Tokiden
good.
for years.
Yes, GC, I am a terrible friend, and I keep telling you to buy games to play with me, and then I don't play them.
No, you're a great friend. You're a great friend. I can't wait to like depower myself so I can play Fantasy Life with you.
Oh god, okay, I feel really bad about that one. A lot has happened since we recorded last.
Because it's been like 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's been a
for
bit.
the record, I'm about to finish Fantasy Life. Like I'm about to finish the story to Fantasy Life.
So days before Fantasy Life came out, when they were doing their deluxe edition early access thing, I was like, hey GC, let's both get this and we'll lock in and we'll play together. Admittedly, we both in that time before launch caught up to the point where you could actually, like, you know, do the multiplayer. In my defense, on launch, the multiplayer offerings they had let me down. They were very restrictive, and I got really bummed by the fact that you couldn't really do much. That game, since launch, has been a wild success for level 5, and they have been putting update after update after update of just adding new free shit for people.
We're getting a free full DLC because it sold well.
Question about this game. How much has it sold?
Like
a million copies.
Oh, that's good. That's really good for them.
Yeah. They surpassed 1 million copies yesterday.
And they keep like
the game has been out for a month.
It's nice in a way to see level 5 be confident again. Because it was really miserable for the last like 10 years to see like level 5's thinking of some rough thoughts. You should call them to make sure things are okay.
Yeah.
Convince level 5 not to jump.
Yeah, please. I'd be like, that would be the headline of the Kotaku article. You'd be like, you gotta go check in on level 5, man. So and I sent this to GC just days ago. They announced a whole new thing in a free update where they're just adding in a roguelite
it is a new open world map. By the way, the game already has an open world map. They're adding another one with roguelike elements added to it.
Which is like, that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for this. Unfortunately, I've been playing a lot of games.
Unfortunately, 100 Line consumed you and then spat you out, and then you went into other stuff.
Yeah, I can't excuse 100 Line is no longer an excuse, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I have been I don't want to say I led coverage for Switch 2, but I helped a good amount for Switch 2 coverage for RPG site, and I had like a slew of games thrown on my plate. Like, again, I've been trying to play through that Bravely Default port to make a a review. Rune Factory, I got to write a review of that. I just put out a review for the Raido Kuzunoha remaster, which maybe we can talk about at some point. And I know we said SGF, but listeners might have noticed that we're releasing this on a Wednesday.
Yes.
And we are doing this on purpose for just this one little segment here because the embargo has lifted for a the Front Mission 3 remake.
Ooh, okay, let's chat about it. Let's talk about it.
So it's I by the time this is out, hopefully you will have seen two pieces from me. One of which is a review over at Nintendo Insider. The score is very low. The other of which will be a article on RPG site, which will explain why my review score is so low. They decided to filter all 2D art in some fucking AI. And it is the most garbage results I have ever seen. They murdered my boy. They murdered my beautiful boy. Everything. Like, and for people who don't know anything about Front Mission, 3 is a pretty big deal of a game because one of the big things with that is that it had a whole internet to explore, like a actual in-universe, in-game internet for you to comb through. And it was massive. They put so much lore and detail into this, and they were trying to recreate web pages, like, 90s web pages. So there's a lot of images, and again, every single one of them was put in through some Gen AI ass fucking AI upscaler thing.
It looks really bad. Like, Cullen has showed me, and I'm actually flabbergasted at how bad it looks. The one guy that has like the weird beard on him, that took me out. I was like, is this an employee they photoshopped into it? No, this is like a weird fucked up AI.
Do they have any images that are completely generated?
Cause I think you might get a kick out of this. This won't make sense to anyone listening. We apologize. So you're just gonna have to go find my article. But because you're familiar with the Japanese Defense Force, I imagine.
Yeah.
The JDF.
Yeah.
This is what the AI crapped it out to be.
No.
So there's instances in which it seems like a image was too busy for whatever AI they had. So they like AI generated individual parts.
Oh my God.
And slapped them together. I don't want to go in too much on this and like spend our time for this because again, I'm writing articles and I don't want to, to repeat myself a bunch. But genuinely do not play the Front Mission 3 remake. Do not buy it. It is frustrating that pre-orders are already up. If I remember correctly, it's kind of hard to cancel a pre-order on Switch 1. They have not mentioned anything about the AI handling of all the 2D images.
They will have to on Steam.
They would have to on Steam, but they have not mentioned it in any of the marketing. So this will be a genuine surprise for so many people. I mean, like, people are going to mention it on Wednesday when reviews lift. I don't know how my fellow reviewers will talk about this game. From what I have played of this, it is a very, it is a well-made SRPG, but they have completely butchered the art style of this entire game. Not just like with the AI art, like I think a lot of the visuals, like the choices made on the like robots and the 3D models and the environments, everything is just a downgrade. They took a really cool game and they kind of just fucked it up. And I am not one to really have high expectations for Forever Entertainment. I think this is batting 4 for 4 for like bad remakes that they've put out. The Front Mission 2 remake had they fucked with a lot of the animations that took out a lot of the charm, and they also most likely allegedly machine translated the entire game because Front Mission 2 had not gotten a remake before now. or like a localization, I mean, before the remake.
Yeah.
And so they had to do that one from scratch. Whereas with 1 and 3, they're just like, pulling the original Square Enix script, and they're just, maybe doing an editing pass on that. It was nonsensical. It was terrible. I think this is worse.
Okay.
It's frustrating because, again, you have a competent SRPG with this.
The script is largely unchanged, right?
Yeah.
'Cause you didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
I just saw what you said, GC. Yeah, the position of the gun is fucked up.
yeah. The AI turned a gun into a camera.
Well, it generated a gun, but he is holding it like
Like a
one would
camera.
hold a DSLR camera with an
Yeah.
extended lens.
Well, it has a little like the gun hole is funny and weird.
The gun is also like 5 inches long.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it is important for reviewers to put their foot down about this kind of thing and give it like a low score, because while some people might be like, oh, you're AI anti-AI bias, I'm like, genuinely, if their goal was to remake the aesthetic of this original game and they completely butchered all of the assets by doing this to make it so that you can't, like, in some instances this 2D art is not even like, it just hallucinates garbage.
Yeah.
Just trash. It doesn't, like, it has completely failed in its mission.
This is an assassination of its original identity through and through.
Yeah. So I'm sure that this is going to get backlash, and then they're going to patch their way into a decent product like they have done with all of their remakes they've put out. But I'm just, this is insulting. Do not buy this game. I was excited for it because I'm an optimist at the end of the day, but this was so much worse than I could have ever imagined. And realizing that is what they had done to this, I was like, this is horrible. Frankly, inexcusable.
Yeah.
It's not even like a quote unquote good AI art or whatever. It's like bottom of the barrel, like, Grok, generate this for me.
Gork, get me gun camera guy. Shoot military.
There is something to be said about people, and I'm not defending its use, but I am saying there are definitely people out there who are trying to use Gen AI to like recreate something in the general identity of the thing they are trying to like steal from and rip off, etc. This is not that. This is we used Gen AI to slap something together and say, look, we did work. And in both cases, you did not do any work. But in this case, this is like, on top of that, it also doesn't even come close to looking anywhere near serviceable, period.
Yeah, I'm not sure like what goes into something like this. Again, I don't use AI at all. I ethically
you type
disgusting.
some keywords into a thing and it generates things based on your keywords.
What it seems like, because I'm aware of AI upscaling. Like that's been a thing for like the last like 5 to 10 years on like remasters, and in that, like, some cases with that, it actually is able to look pretty okay. This seems like they're sending an image in, and instead of just upscaling, it's just making a new image. Like, I've never seen a remaster or a remake do something like this. Because every single image that they remake with it just hallucinates shit that like wasn't there, and it's seemingly no one on quality control like noticed or cared,
or quality control.
Who publishes this game? Who's the pub
Forever
dev?
Entertainment.
The publishers, Forever Entertainment.
Yep. They get basically they have they got the IP, and then they gave all 3 of the Front Mission remakes to different studios.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
This is just in my opinion, like, this is out and out disgusting, to say nothing of the fact that Front Mission 3 is from what I understand, Front Mission 3 is somewhat the story of Front Mission 3 is sort of like engaged in sort of like a story that is very similar about this specific sort of thing, if I remember right. And also, like, it is a beloved of the Front Mission series. It is probably like what people consider to be like, if you're gonna play any of them, you play this one.
That's the one.
Mhm.
Well, because it was the first one to get localized
Yeah.
in
In the States.
English, but also it was just largely considered like one of the best ones.
Yeah. And,
So
this
yeah,
is,
I don't know.
This is if they just slapped like a bunch of AI generated garbage on top of it, then there's no, like, if everything looks different and nothing is the same and the identity is completely lost, there's nothing stopping me from emulating the old one and not buying this.
Yeah.
And the whole reason people buy remasters and remakes that are faithful, because, you know, remasters and remakes have a very broad definition, right? And people have very different ideas of what they want out of that. But if you're going to make a faithful one, the reason people want faithful Final Fantasy Tactics remaster, which we'll talk about, is a great example of this,
Mhm.
right? Where it's like, it's going to be as faithful as possible to the original, but that's for the people who literally just want to be able to play an official release of Final Fantasy Tactics that maybe has some changes here, maybe has some tweaks, maybe they solve some issues that previously in the era that it was made in could not be feasibly solved with an update. This is not that. This is borderline sabotage of the original vision that the people that made this game had. And
I
that
want to
to me
say
is
it's
disgusting.
like cheap or whatever, but it feels like they didn't want to invest money in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was not the game to do that. This was the game you put all your, you for you to try on.
This is the money game. This is the money ball. If you use Gen AI, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility to say, no, you were cheap and lazy about it. Sorry. Like, that is the whole purpose of Gen AI. Like, the whole like selling point of it is that it is cheap
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
quick and effortless. That is Gen AI companies marketing for Gen AI. If you are using Gen AI to do those things, really using Gen AI for any reason, in my opinion, you're being cheap and lazy. And I don't think there's an excuse for it. I would rather, if time constraints were a thing, I would rather you have just poorly up-resed manually the images and made bad pictures or like made mistakes in your UI design that you or like had bugs. I would rather your game have visual errors than be Gen AI'd. Period.
Yes.
I would rather
Yeah.
there be mistakes than garbage.
I'd rather it be fucking ugly, you know?
Yeah.
In like a natural way, not like a fucking AI monstrosity way. Like, yeah, like you mentioned, just up-res those images, make them real fucking ugly pixel art or some shit, you know?
Mhm.
Blow it up.
If you had told me, oh, hey, I didn't have time, so I fucked this up with human error, I'd be like, damn, that sucks. It's unfortunate that they didn't give you time or whatever. But if you're like, I didn't have time, so I ran the whole thing through a Gen AI machine, I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, this is stupid. Like, you should have just done the work you could have done. Sorry. Like, I don't have sympathy for this kind of shit.
And I'm very curious how they're going to respond to this, because they said that they didn't do machine translation for like the 2 remake.
Mm-hmm.
And, everyone was kind of like, they thought it was kind of full of shit, because they immediately said, yeah, but we're gonna do a new translation. And it was like, this sounds like you did machine translation from the get-go and then had to, be like, oh,
This sounds
wait,
like
never
an
mind.
admission of guilt.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I'm very curious, like, on the credits for that, do you have to put your, like, that you use Gen AI?
No.
Like, is that because
No,
I
you don't
watched
have
the
to disclose
credits.
that.
Do you have
And
to credit the
it says
the
it has
company?
like character artists and stuff. And I'm like, but what do you mean?
Well, here's the thing.
So,
If the
ideally,
character
they would-
artist, yeah, go ahead.
If they have any part in maybe like editing that image at all, then they would be credited for that.
So, like, my idea is if the company officially uses Gen AI, then they have to credit it. But if the artist uses Gen AI and then doesn't tell anybody, right? And the execs, even if they know, basically there's there's a unwritten policy to be like, hey, if you're using Gen AI, don't tell us, because then we got to like put it in our credits. we just won't acknowledge that in an official capacity, then technically you don't have to, and you can just play stupid if you want.
So my thought is, the image with the gun camera?
Yeah.
They photo bashed it, right?
Yes.
So they can say we used Gen AI, but we changed it to make it original artwork. So therefore, it can just be considered art. It's photo bashing.
Yeah, it's technically
So-
transformative work.
I'm very curious what the response is going to be to this. I think this is the first time we've seen a remake like this use AI to this extent, and the results are frankly just really bad. I don't know. I imagine that they're like gonna say no, and it's gonna make it very difficult to write that article. Like, not as if like, because I'm gonna go as hard as I want on them, but you do have to be like, I'm pretty sure this is Gen AI, even if you're not going to admit it. So,
Well, I mean, you could take me to court and I could probably fucking prove it without a lawyer. I could be like, how do you hold the gun? And then I'd show you this photo and I'd be like, why is he holding it like this then? You're the artist. You tell me.
Because if they want to claim that they just actually remade all of these themselves, I mean, like, no, you didn't. But like, if you did, then
what was the artistic choice to make him hold an assault rifle that's 6 inches in length as a DSLR camera?
Yeah, it's like, why did you choose to not depict the very obvious things all of these photos represented?
Why is he wearing the wrong helmet?
It's just
any military kid or anybody who's like interested in like military aesthetics would take one look at this image and go, this is all fucking wrong.
Yes.
Why is there a Coast Guard helicopter in this shot? Embarrassing.
But yeah, like I think it's fair to say that if you like completely fuck the visuals up, like even outside of the Gen AI things, like you look at all the pre-rendered backgrounds and they look poorly lit and just bad. Like if you do that, like your game's getting a low review score. And I really hope again, as of recording this, I don't know what other reviewers are going to give this game, but I'm just I hope people are able to have a backbone and, call it like it is, because it just sucks.
Well, this is not a big company, right? Like, no one's going to give a shit if they get blacklisted by these guys. So,
Yeah.
not
But
to talk about
anyway,
blacklists on the podcast, that the thing everybody knows that exists. But, like, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we're going to be all over the place today because we have a lot to talk about, but I think we could probably very quickly, I might add, talk about SGF.
Okay, all I'm going to say is when Neo 3 got announced, I think GC heard me lose my shit.
Oh, yeah.
Were we in call together? Yeah,
no, we weren't.
I think
we weren't.
Okay, so I was on a call with a different friend.
GC heard it across the country.
Yeah,
I did
basically.
feel it in my bones.
So basically, I really like Neo, and I actually translated an interview from the developers where they were like, hey, we're not doing a Neo 3. It's just, we just don't have the manpower for it and the funds, so Neo 2 is all you're going to get, right? And I was like, damn, that sucks because I love Neo. Well, lo and behold, we're fucking getting Neo 3, which is incredible. It's, oh my god, like, Neo's one of my favorite action games ever, so when they announced it, I was like, no fucking way. No fucking way we're getting another Neo game. So that's the thing that I'm most excited about. Everything else, I don't care. Resident Evil 9, I have to actually see when that comes out. When I play it.
I'm a little excited.
So, I mean, it ties into Outbreak, so I'm like, that's cool, Outbreak mentioned, but I really, really, really need to get my hands on it.
Need more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Resident Evil. It's gonna deliver in some ways. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see if the rumors about Leon is true, like Leon being the actual protagonist. So
the premise of just going back to Raccoon City is like kind of they already got
neat.
me.
That's neat.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
I hope they have like a Geiger counter system.
Oh yeah. I would like, although I am a bit I'm curious how big the scope of this game is going to be, since we know, like, if it's going to be a linear affair, I got no worries at all. But if it's like all of Raccoon City, I'm like, ooh, the RE engine can't handle open worlds. What are you doing, Capcom? Stop.
So
But
based on like, so Dust Golem is like a really credible leaker when it comes to
Mhm.
Resident Evil. A lot of his information is usually pretty correct. He doesn't really keep up with his Capcom contact anymore because there was speculation that one of the people that was his contact was very high up in the company and has since left Capcom. But from what he said is that dual protagonist, which is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, and then Leon. And Leon will be exploring Raccoon City trying to find her, and Alyssa will be confined to a mansion.
interesting.
Okay.
I kind of like the idea of like, if you're making the Resident Evil Super game, which, you know, that trailer was trying to be like, guys, we're back and we're so big. Like doing like the Leon style, like, explore this whole town thing, and
It's
then
gonna
just
be like
doing the
RE6. It's two totally separate like gameplay
No, but that's what I'm
styles.
saying is I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like if you have the one style, which is just a classic, like stuck in the like confined space, and then also the other thing. I think that's kind of neat. I'm actually looking forward to that one. It was the only thing at the SGF show I got excited about. That's how dire that show was.
It just
I
wasn't good, and I think that whole weekend there was just a bunch of fucking nothing. Honestly, someone in the games industry was actually talking about how there are too many games getting announced in that short span of time, and I actually agree. I
Yeah.
actually fucking agree because I can't remember shit.
I think it's weird to say this, but I think a yearly event where everyone saves their announcements for that time of year is like counterproductive. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to think what you should probably have in place. This is weird, but like I do think there should be some sort of like monthly or like like every 2 months or every 3 months.
What
I-
they should do is they should split it between SGF and Gamescom,
Yeah,
and
like
like
they
the
should
TGAs.
spread this out.
But like Jeff Keighley doesn't have control over Gamescom, and this is like fucking
He's strong arming. He wants to strong
yeah.
arm people
It's
to
what is it?
do his stuff.
Backyard baseball or something.
Yeah,
but like
backyard. Fuck. I know
yeah,
what you're
like
talking about.
people really believe that Jeff Keighley's showcase will like change the trajectory of your game, but when it's
Inside
that
baseball.
saturated,
Sorry.
yeah, inside baseball,
Yeah, backwards
Like,
baseball
'cause-
is like a
Yeah.
kid's game, which is the kind of the games that Jeff Keighley shows off as the great new game that'll change everything.
oh damn, really? Wait, oh, I know what backyard baseball is. I actually had a lot of fun playing that.
Yeah, they're good games.
Yeah, but the amount of money Jeff Keighley charges for those trailer drops, there are literally people that could fund their entire game based on that 30-second trailer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Keighley's showcase might seem really big, but you're really better off just putting your game out in the ether and hoping something happens at this point if you're not a AAA.
Put your game on
Because-
Steam.
yeah.
Go find some internet personalities or publications that are very popular and feed them some information.
Yeah, just keep courting them. Just keep sending them fucking emails and shit, you know?
Stop paying Jeff Keighley big money for him to put your trailer in between, some of the biggest announcements of the year, and then to also cut your trailer down by half its time and make it look bad.
Oh,
because
did you see that? So you saw it on Blue Sky too, right?
it's the comparisons that somebody was
Yeah.
drawing. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you need to, don't waste your money with Jeff Keighley. Like he's busy showing off, rolling out Hideo Kojima, who seems less and less interested to be on stage every year. And it just really looks like Kojima's just like, I gotta do this because like, Jeff's my friend and I don't want to be rude and whatever. But, go on Day of the Dev. Day of the Dev's probably cheaper. If you absolutely have to have your trailer show up somewhere, there are smaller conferences that you could do that with, and then use the rest of your money.
What also sucks is that those conferences are literally held the same week as SGF. Like they need to stop doing that.
Yeah, Day of the Dev should be like the week after SGF. But the idea is that because people are already tuned in on the same, because SGF ends, but then it keeps running those other conferences on the same Twitch channel. So it's like, yeah, you don't like you get the visibility, the residual visibility after SGF is over. But like, I don't know. I feel like if you're, depending on how big your game is, like, just put it out on Steam. Put it out on Steam. Give it to some streamers.
So what they used to do actually was that, because I remember in, I think, 2013, which is not super long ago, Ubisoft was actually sending people like emails being like, hey, we want to pay you for this op to be on the front page of the game, right? Like on Steam to play it while it's live, and then we'll promo it. Dude, I should have fucking checked that my email way more often. I was getting loads of fucking page like sponsorships and everything back when I was streaming. Fucking kicking myself in the ass for that every single day. But yeah, like I feel like that I don't care for influencer marketing, but it's kind of like an inevitable at this point.
Yeah.
And I just think we shouldn't centralize all of that, because what happens when Jeff Keighley just continues to lose all scruples and we're all participating in the same dog shit showcase every single year,
I say this a
hoping for
lot.
something to happen.
I say this a lot. If you are a credible person in an industry and you endorse one thing, that one thing you endorse gets a huge bonus to its attention. But if you are endorsing 100 things, your credibility and that endorsement gets divided that many times between all the things you are endorsing. The value of your aggregation, so to speak, weakens the more things you aggregate at once. So, yes, SGF, really popular event, really big stuff happening at SGF. But the bigger SGF gets, the more stuff getting shown at SGF happens. We run into the same problem we used to run into with E3, where people would watch a conference and go, there is too much shit being announced at this conference. I can't remember any of it.
I feel like it's worse now.
Yeah, it's worse now because there's no E3. There's no multiple conferences over the course of multiple days where everybody has like their own place. Everybody now funnels through Jeff Keighley. Like
Or just on the same day. Like even Ubisoft and Microsoft basically like they rent their own arenas for the show, right? Because nobody wants to spend $500,000 for a handful of TVs and some fucking chairs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that a guesstimation or is it not? Who knows? You can fucking guess. So like, why not just rent out an arena instead, and host a private event? But that same day, they're like showing off a bunch of shit and also like coinciding with like SGF. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. I don't know. It's killing me,
Yeah.
This shit kills me every time.
It's very funny and very unfortunate. But that was SGF. I everybody else had one game, but like I don't think I had a single game at SGF that I was like.
I had a game that made me like have a fucking crisis.
What was it?
Fucking Persona 4 remake.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You lost your fucking mind. We were going
correct.
So fucking rancid.
We were going back and forth afterwards because I was trying to de-escalate Cullen because Cullen was like, "It's so bad," and I was like, "Wait, it's early."
And they just announced that it's probably not even coming out until late 2026 or like 2027. Like they announced this shit when it wasn't even like put in the oven yet.
That chicken was not seasoned. I don't think the chicken was like defeathered yet.
I think it wasn't even a chicken. I'll be real. I think it was a fake chicken, like one of those like vegetarian chickens. And it's, no issue with that. I like that. But then they said, no, that's a chicken. And they didn't season it like a chicken. They didn't put bouillon anywhere near it. They
The
didn't
chicken
even
was
try
still
to fake it.
clucking. It's the Gordon Ramsay meme, right? Like, it's the chicken's still alive or whatever. It's so fucking
It's
raw.
fucking raw.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I've tried to like, you know, get myself de-escalated a little bit because I did come in pretty hot and I'm still not pretty pleased with what they showed, but I am so disappointed that after they kind of struck gold, like visually with that Persona 3 remake, they didn't go, yeah, let's do another one of those. Let's just kind of reuse some assets. We have all the technology. It looks great. This would probably also look good for a Persona 4 remake. Instead, they were like, let's
Bloom.
just
We need more bloom.
and sheen and no like real shading to like kind of make it even look like an anime. It's just like it's just ugly. It's not what I would want, and it seems like they're targeting like only current gen consoles, whereas like I think it was really smart for P3 to target every console because it keeps the aesthetic very simple, and you know, it's more stylized than it is graphically impressive, and that's smart because it also probably keeps your budget down. And so like you look at this and I'm just like, Atlas, I don't know how to tell you this. Your modern success is because you put your games on everything, and your games can run on everything, and they have a style to them because you guys have kind of mastered this, like recreating this aesthetic that you love and making it so that it just kind of works everywhere. And so Genshin Impact Persona 4 does nothing for me.
It's ugly.
I looked at this and GC and I were watching the conference together. And and here's another thing. This is the worst kept secret ever. We've known about this for like a year, I think, that this was going to happen. And then
I just love that Yuri Lowenthal was like, fuck it.
Yeah. And in the weeks building up to it, they were, you know, voice actors came out and said that they weren't going to be in the remake, which we hadn't even seen yet. But I'll be real, hey, voice actors, this thing looks so like early in development.
You might get the call. I'm gonna be honest.
You might get the call.
They might hit you up. You should hold off on
I think the reason why they hadn't contacted you is because they made one map and one model, and they got the model running around the map, and they said, fuck it. Let's spend $1 quadrillion at Microsoft conference to put a shitty trailer together.
Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass.
Oh, God. But it just... I'm going to like after this podcast, I'm not going to speak about this game again until they actually reveal it, because it's clear that this is not what the game is going to look like. The game might still look bad, and who knows, it could. It's very likely, but it was so obvious that they were not ready to show this thing. And to that, I'm like, why did you not just show nothing? Or show a logo? Like you wasted money showing us this trailer that no one liked. And I there are some people who are like, well, you know, it's early. And I'm like, yes, I know this. They shouldn't have shown it. Like if they weren't proud of what hold on, I have to do the thing in the podcast where I have to stand up from my chair and get my mic arm up so I can speak, because I'm so impassioned about this. Like Atlas has like broken free of this like shit of theirs that they had going on, where like they would announce the game way too early and then it would take years for it to actually show up. Persona 5 was big with this. SMT 5 was big with this. And in modern, like, you know, the last couple of years, they've been really good at announcing a game and being like, it'll be out in like 6 months max. And when they show the game off, we go, that looks like a finished fucking video game. Like, yeah. Okay, that'll be out soon. They literally did it earlier this year with Rido Remastered, where they showed that thing off and they were like, yeah, it'll be out in like 4 months. And we were like, what? Huh? Really? Cool. And so I thought we were done with this, but no, they're doing this weird shit with the Persona 4 remake where they're showing us stuff that's not even close to being done.
I don't know why, because it's not like they're hurting right now for like sales.
No, I mean, I'm wondering if it's because they don't have anything else. Like, I'm curious if like after this Raito remaster, they're gonna go quiet for a bit.
I got one word for you
Mm-hmm.
that explains all of this.
Yep.
Sega.
Okay, yeah,
Well-
you're right. Maybe they're like people will buy P3 if they think P4 is within the next year or whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't speak executive.
I imagine the Persona 6 probably needs a little bit more time. And honestly, again, take as much time as you need with that. Like I don't
Mhm.
like it would be nice to get a new game instead of remakes, but like I would rather them take their time on 6 and
Mhm.
actually like do something cool with it than just, rush that out.
I really want 6 to be transcendental.
Yeah, like I want 6 to be a big step forward.
And I'm a low expectations kind of guy. I want 6 to be like I feel like 5 and SMT 5 were both building blocks to something that is going to be a significant step forward, a big change for the Persona series. And I don't know if they can actually like
I don't
meet that expectation.
Maybe it'll be like
but-
Metaphor or something.
Yeah, no, I don't think that SMT5 is a good thing because that's like the Maniacs team, if I remember correctly, and they only like those I think they like Atlas has the big pool of demons from the Persona 5 people when they made all those
Yeah.
that they were using all their games, but like I don't think there's a lot of crossover. But like that doesn't mean like that they're not going to do anything like, really big and different
Yeah.
for 6.
I think they got
Mhm.
a top Metaphor for me personally, because I think Metaphor was had a very strong,
Oh yeah.
cohesive sort of like everything where it's like it really knew what the fuck it was. It felt very like rare for a video game nowadays to feel very
Also-
complete and very like clear about what it is.
It's also just in general like pretty distinct in
Yes.
terms of like UI. It feels like an elevation of Persona 5's UI. Yeah, it's busy. It
Mm.
makes my fucking eyes hurt, but like it is an elevation. It is like
It is an exercise in the maximalism
Yes.
that they were going for with Persona 5, I feel.
Yeah.
exactly. And I hope I hope either Persona 6 is extremely minimal or it's crazy fucking insane maximalist.
It's
Yeah.
I've been seeing that like the new Persona team, because the Metaphor team, like they made P5 and they split, and then the Persona team has been making like re-releases and like remasters and spin-offs for all this time, and like the thing is they're all good.
That's their B team. That's their B team as well.
No, that's the
doing that.
Persona team now.
Is that it is?
No, but that's the thing. They have been putting out good work. Like they
Yeah.
started with Royal and like
agree.
Q2, and then they have been making Persona since like original 5. And it's just like I'm just waiting for them to get their own like
Stuff.
game. Yeah, and it's
Did
the
that team
games take-
do Royal?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I
No,
would
like
very
the-
much like to see them work on something wholly scratch. Yeah.
And what I am assuming is that 6 has been in development for like this entire time. Like and like 4 clearly is just they were probably like 6 needs more time. Scramble, make a 4 remake. Fuck. So I don't know, but I think it's really funny for them because again, this was just either yesterday or today where Sega announced that their because like the Sega Sammy like sales and like reports came out, and they were saying how both that new RGG game and this are in that like same kind of like release window, and I'm
Mhm.
like, no fucking way, because that RGG game looks, if nothing else, like a video game that's far into production.
Oh, you mean
And-
Stranger Than Heaven?
Yeah, like
Stranger
that
than
game
Heaven.
looks like it is, like I would, if someone said like, oh yeah, that's probably like mid 2026, I'd be like, I'd believe it. That game looks super far. Like
yeah.
I don't think so. I don't
I
think.
think
it's
that
been out
game-
long enough.
I'm saying in comparison to what we saw with
Yes.
Persona
Oh,
4,
yeah,
where
yeah,
they had
yeah,
so
yeah.
little that we saw one map and a character running whose knees and elbows clipped through his clothes.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
We did.
Yeah.
I went frame by frame, Kazuma, and I pointed out that his thigh, like his knee, clips through his pants, but also in certain parts of his running animation, his thigh was also clipping through his pants, so you could actually see like
So
flesh.
this is just literally proof of concept then. That's it.
Yeah, like it's
Oh my
so
God.
it's so early, so clearly early, and that's why like when people that's actually why I am less afraid of that like eventual future of what that game is going to look like, because I saw that and I went, no, this is so early that like the lighting in this is not going to be final product, like
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
the-
default
not-
lighting.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
not baked
like-
or anything. Jesus.
like none of this is like this is literally like you threw this into, I'm assuming this is either Unreal or Unity. I think it's Unreal.
It's Unreal.
Yeah, because
it
Reload
looks-
was Unreal.
It looks Unreal 5 to me. The fact that it's only current gen makes me think it's Unreal 5.
That
The
would
wiki
track.
says Unreal 4, but like that
might
could just be an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just
This
meant being an
seems like-
editor, like
Because like if
making
it was
sense of
Unreal
something.
4, like P3 and SMT 5, they have a pretty like those teams know how to use that engine now.
it
Mhm.
wouldn't look like that.
And it wouldn't look like that,
It
but
wouldn't
also
look like
it would
that.
come out on like last gen consoles. Like if a P3 remake on Unreal 4 could come out on a PS4 and an Xbox One, then this could as well if it was Unreal 4. Like that looked Unreal 5 as hell.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm not as like doomy about it, because I'm like, if this comes out looking the way it did in that announcement, that would be I feel like that would be like Atlas is secretly leaving us a code to help
That's saying
free
help.
them from the basement that they have been chained in. Because there's no way in hell that's gonna be like the final product in any shape, way, or form.
It's
Shape, or
just
form.
like-
Sorry.
And you're right. And like the reasonable part, and that's why of like my brain and is saying like, yeah, it's probably not going to be that bad on
Mhm.
launch. And that's why I'm going to just not like that. Like this game does not exist.
Yeah, you
To
might
me.
as well. That's exactly how you have to go about it. It's like, this is not real. This is like Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls 6. This doesn't exist.
So until they feel confident enough to show me it again, I'm just not gonna. It's not a real game.
Mhm.
But it's like it's just so weird to see a studio for the past like 5 years has like exuded this kind of confidence in like the games they've put out. With like, you know, like when they announced this shit, they're like, we've fucking already like the game's basically done, and we're like, we cooked, and you're all gonna look at these sick trailers we made because we know how to like we're Atlas, we're the visuals guys, we make cool looking games. And
Yeah.
this is just like T-posing Yunar Akami on a Persona 4 golden battle theme that is just the one from Persona 4. Like I think they were literally playing like Time to Play History, like the first couple notes of it. And it's just like
And look at
fucking-
TV. There's TV there.
Yeah,
See, that's the thing. All you had to do was like show the TVs and then just cut to a logo if you
Yeah.
really like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. I like the fact that that was on the last day of SGF felt like it was spiteful for like to me in particular.
It was just a bad call. That's a bad PR call, and my bad marketing call.
Like Sega Atlas, if you need something as a stopgap between Raito and this game or like P6, just fucking port Metaphor to Switch 2. You're gonna sell like crazy amounts of copies.
Or like, I don't know, just
Port Persona 5 again.
I think they've I think
oh,
well actually next week or this week fucking the Persona 5 mobile game comes
yeah,
out.
Persona X is
Oh
coming
yeah,
out.
they're gonna make gangbusters with that one.
I
I
gotta
don't
look
know
into
if
it
they
because
will.
If it's just another fucking gotcha game, I'm not gonna play it. But like,
It is.
you can walk around and stuff, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like a very like high effort one, but
I'll
that,
take
the
a
thing
peek,
is like
but
the biggest Persona 5 guys I know about aren't even like jonesing and excited. They're just like,
they
"Oh."
already played it.
Not all of them.
The biggest
but
one we know has already played it.
Jordan.
Yeah,
Oh, did he play it already?
I'm pretty sure Jordan played the Japanese version.
It's also like I think it's releasing on the same day as like Death Stranding and like a bunch of other games. So I'm kind of just like I'm not even.
Mobile games are a totally different
That's true,
market
though,
though.
yeah.
Like
No, this is personal. Like I'm saying like it any hype I would have around this thing, because I'm the Persona guy. Like I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would like to segue from here though.
of course we can end this.
Talk about two things.
Of course.
Stranger Than Heaven.
oh my god, I should be allowed to fucking review that game.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
should
think
be
we're
asking
done.
me to fucking review that one.
yeah, that should like that is going to be one hell of a game to play, because we now know that you go through several eras, or that we are supposedly going through several eras, or people are early speculating at least two, but people are speculating there's going to be more, right? And both of the eras that they showed off, both of the specific years that were revealed to us, are very close to very important
yes.
events.
Very significant real world events in which Japan was colonizer supreme.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see how they handle that. I did not expect them to. So I was actually surprised that they seem to be going for like this character we're playing as isn't. It seems to be that he's not entirely Japanese. Like he's apparently he's also, people are speculating he's also American, but like there's some weird shit going on where like I don't think that's what they're getting at. I think they're going to get at some more supernatural thing. I am very glad that they are going towards this angle, or they are hinting towards things being in a more fantasy element, due to the fact that it doesn't work in Like a Dragon, but that is what the writer
what about
loves.
that rock though?
What rock? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That video's
Hey,
coming.
did you see what? Hey, did you see what about that rock?
Laura?
It's in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Is it what?
There may or may not be a magic rock in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. You'll don't worry about it. That video's coming out. Go watch my channel.
You'll all find out.
You'll find out. It's gonna be like a 4-hour fucking video. So
I'm so excited.
yeah, it's gonna be great. You can put it on in the background while you build model kits or whatever. And I mean that affectionately. I don't mean that. You should do that. Watch my videos while you're doing stuff. That's fine. I don't care. So Stranger Than Heaven looks cool. It seems to be a better fit for the current team at RGD Studio. That is my opinion as someone who has been sort of like examining this series, the Like a Dragon series, for a long time, and the direction it's going. I think Stranger Than Heaven is more in the wheelhouse of the current creatives leading the team there. Tsuyoshi Furuta loves writing supernatural elements and fantasy elements into his stories. That does not work in the Like a Dragon universe. People are speculating that this is going to tie back into the Like a Dragon universe in some way. If it does, you will listen. I will.
You'll hear me on the news.
I'm gonna have words.
Hey, everyone, get ready for GC's words in like a year and a half or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. Because this is a really interesting concept. I'm gonna say it flat out. Like the era and stuff is kind of sketchy, but like just on the concept of because like you look at the environments in that and you can tell that it's not historically accurate, like at all.
You mean what's it called? Sotenbori existing?
Yeah, first of all, Sotenbori with like the fucking like Vegas lights everywhere. I don't think that was 1943 Japan. I'm just putting it out there. Just maybe I'm wrong, but like, you know, it seems a little bit alternate history-esque, at least from the trailers. And yeah, especially like he's in like a very like traditional jazz club at the start of that second announcement trailer, and I'm like,
I'm gonna send you something.
Like maybe I'm being Orientalist right now. Like maybe this is just me just not knowing better, but like I feel like they're going for something more fantasy oriented, and that's going to be great if they do that, as long as it's its own new thing. I also feel like it's time for them to move on from Like a Dragon, so I'm very excited.
Well, they've kind of run out of
I
ideas
just sent
for
you
it.
something
So.
that's from the 1950s in Japan.
Oh, you know what? That's actually pretty accurate. Wait, the
Yeah.
1950s?
Early 1950s, yeah.
Okay, so this is, well, you know what? Maybe
So the
maybe
first
I
one's the
am wrong.
1950s, the second one is the 1960s.
So maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Whoa, GC's wrong.
I've been wrong before.
Is my goat fucking washed?
I always say that. That's like my catchphrase. I said I could be wrong. I often am. No, yeah. So no, yeah. I'm totally being a fucking.
But it's just the fact that there are like similar signs to specific things that we
Oh,
have
yeah.
actively seen in the Like a Dragon series.
Yeah, which
yeah.
deflates me because I don't want it to be Sotenbori at all, but it's going to be
Yeah.
that because they're gonna take an existing map and convert it into that's what the studio does. But I hope they try their best to like not do that, and I hope it does like I hope it's larger than life. I hope it is fantasy. I hope it is supernatural. Like I hope it is sort of like trying to blend some of the elements that the writers have desperately wanted to include in Like a Dragon, since like Yakuza 6 and more clearly in Judgment and stuff. Like if they can find a tone that works, I don't want this to tie back into Like a Dragon because this could be a new IP for them that they can take into the future and they can do whatever they want with it, and they won't have to brush up against the reality, which is the people who made Like a Dragon, like maybe like 75% of them do not work at your company anymore. Well, maybe like 60% of them don't work there anymore. Like the people who led the vision of that for a long time aren't there anymore. And the people who stayed behind have been there just as long, but they have very, very different ideas of what that series is. And there is no longer that balance. You don't have
I
that
want to say
balance.
very different politics too.
Yes. And like I could go into like, we could talk about how the guy that has Yokoyama's old position is the guy who was in charge of the more wacky elements of Like a Dragon since like the first one, which is why you'll notice that since the big exodus from RGG Studio, the games have gotten a little bit more towards that silly side. It's because those are his sensibilities. And I'm not saying, hey, that he's stupid for thinking that's what a series is. I'm saying when all those people left, there is a huge imbalance now of what people, the creatives handling this series sort of see in it. So they need to do something different. They need to do something completely different. I don't want to see another Like a Dragon game. I'm so serious. I'm going to talk about it in my video, but I'm so serious. Just stop making Like a Dragon. Stranger Than Heaven. That's your new thing. Roll with it. Please, God. Please don't be a Like a Dragon game in disguise.
I just think it's going to be, if I do want to review this game, it's going to be so fucking hard because I think Sega, like, specifically does not want me reviewing this game.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. And also, like...
Because I was like, damn, if this character is actually biracial, I should absolutely be one of the people reviewing this game based on my history with the series and being a biracial person. And the moment I said that, I was like, there's no fucking way Sega's going to give me a code for this shit.
No, because...
You just gotta
there's
put
no
on
fucking way.
like a mustache and like
Hello?
bleach your skin and be like, hello, I love pasta.
Yeah.
I know it's you, Homer.
No salt.
Homer?
No.
Who is this Homer? I'm Guy Incognito.
I love Yakuza.
And like the thing is that I used to, and then it was just full of like fucking vile
You get burnt out.
propaganda and shit.
No, Infinite Wealth was goated.
For me, it was all the fucking propaganda that fucking took me out. I was like, I can't do this shit anymore.
Well,
This is actually killing me.
It got way more heavy-handed, like in Yakuza. Like I really do think like after Yakuza 0, it just got really, really heavy-handed. It was always there, but like it got they went mask off in like 2016.
Yeah.
Which lines up with certain political events around the world. But yeah, so
and the thing is,
Stranger
okay, what you're saying is the truth, by the way, and nobody wants to hear it. And if you are someone that's listening to this and you feel really upset about that, I really need you to think about what's going on in your life right now. It's like an actual personal request from me.
people in countries outside the U.S. will tell you that when a certain someone in the United States was elected president, that caused ripple effects around the world for conservative ideologies to gain
Yeah.
strength and for certain
Yes.
fascist and nationalist views to bubble back to the surface.
Yeah, that's a real thing, everybody. That's a real fucking thing.
It is not a coincidence. Anyway, so Stranger
Mhm.
Than Heaven, cool, whatever. Super
What about
excited.
Yakuza 0?
Let's
Oh,
talk about
boy.
Yakuza Zero's director's cut.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Sorry.
Let's talk about the new
Yeah.
cuts. This is Yakuza Zero's director's
Yeah.
cut. Let's talk about what they fucking did with the fucking best game of the series. Let's talk about how they fucking ruined a good thing.
GC and I both decided this was going to be one of our launch games. I didn't even get to some of the shit, and I've just been seeing like the what they've said. Like I've heard about those new cutscenes. What'd y'all do? Why'd y'all do this? What's wrong with you?
They don't know what to do with the series. Those added cutscenes. First of all, we talked about this already. That's not a director's cut.
No.
Before the game came out, I said, okay, this is not a director's cut. This is just stupid marketing shit. After watching the cutscenes in Yakuza Zero's director's cut, I am very confident in saying, not only is this not an actual director's cut, I feel like this is a slight against the original director of that
Mhm.
game.
You think someone's pissed about it? You think someone's mad about it?
Yeah, I think somebody is very bitter about people leaving that company because the cutscenes that they added to this game. Cullen, you played Yakuza 0, right?
Yeah.
Did you beat it?
Supposedly, yes, I have. Supposedly, this was like cutting room floor stuff, and if that is true, it should have stayed there.
I think it is absolute horseshit that this is cutting room floor stuff. Because
I
of the
don't think so
nature of
either.
these cutscenes. I think this is my belief. I don't have evidence of this. This is my belief. I believe that is an outright lie. Cullen, I really just want to tell you what those cutscenes are because they're not worth watching. Truly.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not.
Like,
they're
not even to form your own opinion because the cutscenes are actually like nothing.
They're
all
pretty
they
dog
do-
shit.
All they
Oh,
do
yeah.
is ruin your. You will, if you watch those cutscenes, you will go, oh, they actually ruined the entire game.
That's pretty impressive.
I will spoil
Oh,
it here.
yeah.
Hey everybody, Editing GC here. If you want to avoid spoilers for the Yakuza 0 Director's Cut extended cutscenes, as well as just general base game Yakuza 0 spoilers, you can go ahead and skip to 1 hour and 47 minutes. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Everybody, if you don't want spoilers for the Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, I promise you what I'm about to tell you, you will be glad that you did not waste time. All of these cutscenes, I think the first one happens like chapter 9 or 10. So it's pretty far into the game. It's like maybe like 50, 60 hours into the game is when like the added cutscenes start showing up. They are all terrible. And I'm so serious when I tell you, if you've never played Yakuza 0, I'll have like a time code or something that I'll give Kazuma to post in the YouTube description, or I'll add it myself and I'll put it on the Spotify one if I have to. Cullen,
Yeah, I am Cullen.
your favorite part of Yakuza 0 at the end? Like, what's your favorite part of Yakuza 0 at the end? Like,
When it ended,
okay, but like,
Cullen's like,
No,
I'm glad it's
your
over.
favorite like Makoto, your favorite Makoto
It was that.
movement.
You're kind of, yeah. I think that like last talk with
No, before. Well,
you said
maybe,
at the end.
maybe. Okay, do you remember, Cullen,
Mhm.
when Makoto gets her watch back?
Yeah.
And it plays the little jingle for 24 Hour Cinderella. Oh, no, not 24 Hour Cinderella. It just plays like the little jingle that she was talking about. Like, it used to play a fun little whatever, but it stopped working. And
Mhm.
like off camera, while we were gallivanting as Kiryu doing stuff that, in my opinion, isn't as important or compelling as Majima stuff, Majima fixed the watch.
Yeah.
And it was like that moment of like learning that, okay, what if I told you that the first cutscene they add to Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is a cutscene right after Lee gets car bombed,
Oh,
where an associate talks to Majima, and an associate goes, "Hey, you're a friend of Lee's, right?" And Majima goes, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "He has a message for you." And then after they have a little conversation where Majima's like, "He's alive," and the guy's like, "Yeah, but like he's like not doing well, so we don't, it could be touch and go." The camera cuts to a guy in a wheelchair whose face is covered, and an attendant wheeling him away 10 feet away from where Majima is. But then the random NPC, the associate, is like, "Oh, by the way, you grabbed the watch, right? That was Makoto's watch, right?" And Majima's, "Oh yeah, I did. I guess I should go fix it before I give it back to her." That is the first added cutscene in Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. And it not only does it very clearly indicate that Lee does not die. One of the most impactful moments for Majima's story, right?
did
Lee's
Lee
not
do
dead.
Did Lee also like fix the watch?
No, Majima fixed the watch. Majima literally goes, a guy points it out. Like the character that Majima
someone tells him he has to do it.
No, he tells him,
No.
he reminds us, the audience, that Majima has the watch by asking Majima if he has the watch. The super important watch from Yakuza 0 that everyone remembers was like a big thing. They added a cutscene where somebody's like, "By the way, you have that watch, right?" And Majima very awkwardly goes, "Oh yeah, I guess I do. I guess I'll fix it for her, like as a nice gesture or whatever," because they haven't had the moments yet. So it completely removes the emotional impact of Majima doing this thing for this person that he loves. And it makes it like oh yeah, that would be like,
that'd be really cool if I did that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if I did that. That's the first one. The second added scene is a scene where Kiryu is literally walking down the street of Kabuto-cho. Do you remember the guy that gave Kiryu the money for beating up the guy in the lot at the start of the game?
Not really. But
Well,
maybe vaguely.
If you played Yakuza 0 recently, you would be reminded that off camera it is implied that Kuze offs that guy because he's a loose thread in his plot to frame Kiryu for a murder so that Kazuma cannot get out of jail, right? Or so that Kazuma can be taken out, like to give him probable cause to murder Kazuma. So
Me
that
in prison shaking my fucking bars.
Yeah. Kazuma, not Kazuma, all right? we talked about this. People keep doing it wrong. You're not helping the situation. So take him out of it so Kuze can take over, right? So Kiryu's walking and he sees the guy in a hat and sunglasses and he stops the guy and he throws the guy again. By the way, totally out of character for Kiryu. Kiryu's like, "Hey man, I thought you were dead. What's up with that? You helped frame me." Or whatever. This is after the scene where Kiryu confronts the guy and he's like very calm or whatever. He finds out the guy did not die. He sees him out in the street and he goes, "Yeah, come here." And he throws him against the wall and he kicks him and he throws this guy to the floor and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And like, he's like really fucking pissed. It's really out of character. Like it makes no sense for Kiryu. And the guy goes, "Oh,
even for Yakuza 0 Kiryu, who is already he's a
angry
hothead,
boy.
but like he would not.
Because the whole point of Yakuza 0 is that Kiryu gets to that turning point at the end, and then Nishiki stops him from going over. But like Kiryu throughout Yakuza 0 is not like a hothead. He doesn't know what to do, so he's going through the motions a little bit, and he's making decisions for himself. Like that's the point of Yakuza 0 Kiryu. This cutscene completely misunderstands like who he is. And then the guy goes, "Yeah, Kuze cut a deal with me." And the scene is supposed to make us be like, "Oh, Kuze didn't actually kill that guy, so Kuze's not as bad of a person as we thought." Because again, remember Kuze? Remember how much everyone liked Kuze in Yakuza 0 and how awesome he is? Remember how great of a guy Kuze, like, oh, everyone loves Kuze, but he's, he killed a lot of people. Maybe we should
a bad guy.
make him kill less people, right? So they retcon that right? Even though Kuze totally still kills that one guy. It's like that's still a thing Kuze did, but whatever. So they have a whole conversation, and Kiryu's like, "Oh, so what are you gonna do now?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got a new protege doing like loan shark stuff." And Kiryu goes, "Where? Oh really?" And he goes, "Yeah, Peace Finance. You should hit us up when you get the chance." Peace Finance is the loan shark office that Kiryu busts the door down of in Yakuza 1 during the tutorial.
Oh, come on.
So now it's remember that? Oh, now that's connected. What is the purpose of that? What is the significance? Nothing. It adds nothing. Now all this did was just make Kuze less of a man capable of murder, which by the way, I don't know if you know this, Cullen, but it's possible to like really like a character despite
Who's a
that
bad
character
person?
being a murderer.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm an
it's
Akechi
like-
fan.
There's sort of like a you know, from the lens of our protagonist, there's sort of like a respect, right? Because in the criminal underworld, it's like, yeah, he kills people. Like, yeah, like that's not.
That's kind of, this is a game about the fucking Yakuza.
Yeah, like no one is batting an eye about it, and like it's okay for us to like these. Like, I feel like no one. I feel like I don't think the people that added these cutscenes in have ever like seen a Martin Scorsese film in their entire life, or watched it and were like, man, I wish that guy wasn't so bad. like I wish, like, whatever. So that's the second cutscene. The third cutscene, actually not the worst. The third cutscene is actually a cutscene that should have been maybe 25% as long as it was. And it's
The one
one
in the car?
cutscene. No, it's
Okay.
one cutscene with Kiryu and Kuze. This is right after Kiryu fights Kuze for the last time. And Kuze's trying to light a cigarette and he can't because his lighter isn't working. And Kiryu lights it for him. And,
Boo! Hiss,
Yeah, yeah.
hiss.
and I actually like this cutscene just because like it's very obvious in Yakuza 0 that Kuze is a big like influence on Kiryu, and there is like a respect at the end there. And like you get like maybe 2 minutes of that in this cutscene, but then it reveals who the mastermind is behind the whole plot of the lot. So Kuze just flat out tells Kiryu, by the way, Shibusawa's behind it all.
What?
Yeah, he just tells Kiryu. He just goes, yeah, Shibusawa's the guy like doing everything because he wants like total control. He did this and this and that. So it spoils the entire end of the game. It spoils the entire end of the game. So that's that cutscene. Cutscene number 4 is Majima in a phone booth talking to the cop that was Nishitani's like adoptive father that they just kind of hinted at in the game and never like outright said. So it was kind of like cool because it was just like him being kind of coy about it because they couldn't be clear about it because he's a cop, Nishitani's a Yakuza kid. So like, you know, they need to keep a distance from each other or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Majima's talking to the guy, and the guy's like, "Hey, you think somebody, you think that's enough to kill Nishitani or whatever?" And Majima's like, "Don't fuck with me. Don't tell me Nishitani's alive." And he's like, "No, he's not. He's dead as fuck." And then, and then he starts crying in his wheelchair, and it's just like a moment of him going. And Majima's like, "Nice talking to you, bro." And then he hangs up the phone. And it
What the
adds
fuck?
nothing. It is literally 5 minutes of them playing with the fact that Nishitani may or may not be dead. And then ultimately they're like, no, he's not dead. But like they do it in a way where it's like, oh, but like, you know, was he lying or was he telling the truth? Like, you don't know. And then cutscene 5. And this is why there's no way in hell. All of this should tell you, be pretty clear to you that this is not something they had on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. Okay.
None of
This was
cutting
shit they
room
did
floor.
because they paid attention to fan reception.
Yes, like nobody in their right mind, when writing this story would have had a scene where they totally undercut their later impactful moments. Like even for RGG Studio, that's hilariously awful, right? Nobody's gonna be like, oh, Lee survived, because Yakuza characters surviving like death events was not a thing that anyone cared about until Like a Dragon 7. I know people who are considered like a dragon aficionados. I know content creators who people look to for that, and I've heard them, or rather, our friend Cheese has told me their opinions, where it's like, oh, Yakuza has always been a story where like death doesn't matter. That is not true. People have died in this fucking series, and they have stayed fucking dead until Like a Dragon 7. Period.
Yeah, it's you're in a recording a podcast with all those people right now. Yeah, like the only characters that, so for those that don't know, RGG Studio decided to hold an official like funeral for some of their characters, and the only ones that really got buried were like Mine and Rikia, and this is like after Yakuza 7, so that kind of means that everybody else is fucking alive.
Anybody else could be alive. Like they left the door open for that possibility. So,
but
that wasn't a thing that anyone cared about.
Yeah, and like death was permanent, and it made those moments like really stick. Like I wish Mine didn't die. I wish the gay man didn't throw himself off of the fucking tower for the FBI agent to whatever. Okay, I don't want to talk about that. I fucking hate that. But death was permanent.
Yeah, death was permanent. So there's no way that somebody wrote that into Yakuza 0, because that was not on the radar for the Yakuza games at the time 0 was made. That was not the intent, right? Again, nobody's gonna write in a fucking scene where Kuze spoils who the final boss of the fucking game is. And there's any writer worth like anything would be like, that's fucking dumb. That's fucking dumb. We're not doing that. But the last cutscene is at the very end of the game. I don't know when it takes place. I think it's like it's like right before Kiryu and Majima see each other on the street, or it's after that, because Kiryu is already in his new suit. He's in the white and red, or the white and salmon colored suit. Which, if you didn't know, is why Ichiban's tattoo is white and salmon colored as well. Anyway, they are sitting in the car and they are driving, and this scene goes on for a very long time.
Too long, in my opinion.
Yes, very, very long. Exceedingly long. And they are making fun of the events of Yakuza 0. So Kiryu and Nishiki are having a powwow, and they are literally recapping the entire story. And they're going, man, I can't believe you went into Kuze, you stood up to like Kuze, and like you fought your way to Dojima, and then like quit your job as a Yakuza man. And
remember the stuff that just happened in the story?
That's literally, Nishiki goes, remember when you left me stranded on that hill? After I can't believe I cried. Yeah, no, he goes, pants. He literally goes, I can't believe I fucking cried. And then you took the car and you left me there. And
I had to go walk, and then I had to go change my big diaper. Kiryu, you're so cool. Kiryu, remember how in the next game I will become the villain and you will have to see me die? That will be very cool.
And that conversation ends with Kiryu and Nishiki. The joke is that they are imagining Kashiwagi's angry face to see if they can imagine it without getting scared. And the trailer for Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, where you see Kiryu and Nishiki yelling in the car, the last thing you see in the Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, if you play it from front to back, is Kiryu and Nishiki imagining Kashiwagi's face and going, ah, so scary. And then it cuts to black.
Wait, that's the end of the game?
That is the end of that cutscene, and I am almost certain that takes place either right before Majima and Kiryu meet up, which completely shatters the tone of the entire game, by the way, because it's a cutscene with like no music and they're just driving around. And I mean, it's not a, I don't think it's a rendered cutscene. I think they are in engine. Sorry, it's not pre-rendered. I think they're in engine. And like, and that's it. And that's it. That's literally it. Like it cuts. And I can't imagine going then to Majima and Kiryu staring at each other across from one another after that. So that has to take place afterwards, but that is the very last thing. It is literally a cutscene where where the two main voice actors for your series are like, hey, remember when we did that thing like just a little while ago?
It was so crazy, right? When we did that thing.
Yeah, I can't believe I stopped you from killing Shibusawa, man. Like, that's wild. Like, they are literally reminiscing about the events of the story that just happened. That is not a fucking cutscene that was left on the cutting room floor.
Okay, yeah, that's
Don't be
pretty
a
bad.
bunch of fucking liars. You gotta be drinking the fucking Kool-Aid if you see that statement go out and look at it at face value and go, oh yeah, they're totally telling the truth. That was totally cutting room floor content. My left nut, screw you. Those cutscenes ruin the entire game. Absolutely ruin the entire game. I think anyone who defends those cutscenes is coping hard. Also, the new mode sucks. Cullen and I played it, and
We thought it was
trash.
really bad.
It's fucking trash.
I haven't gone back to the game yet. I do still want to, and in my normal Cullen fashion, I will put on blinders when I see a new cutscene and pretend it doesn't exist.
You should go look up those cuts. We should watch those cutscenes together. It's 26 minutes. It's just 26 minutes of cutscenes. And I was right, by the way. I told everybody, so it's gonna be like 4 or 5 extra cutscenes because Like a Dragon cutscenes are long. Oh, by the way, Cullen, I played more of the mode. Because some of the characters you can unlock are helpers and they show up in the missions if you generate them as CPUs. And I was like, oh, let me play solo. And then I tried leveling them up to see if they would level up in the missions as well. So like, oh, a viable way to do solo missions, right? I just have to do more of them to upgrade everybody. Okay, that's a grind, but like at least there's like a way to do it. No. If you upgrade them in your character roster and then they show up as CPUs, they are locked to level 1.
What?
Yeah. Even if they're like level 3 in your character roster and they show up to help you in a solo play, they will not be at the level that you have them at in your character roster. They are always generated as level 1 CPUs. And it can't be anybody on the roster. It's only people that are listed as helpers on the roster.
I don't.
It's shit. It's shit. It's shit.
What a way to like deflate your like re-release of one of your most popular games.
The most popular game. The fucking game that put you on the map in the West, like officially, that like fucking got you here.
Yeah.
The reason you sold 3 million fucking copies of Like a Dragon 7. Just absolutely absurd. I have no more words. It's a fucking tragedy.
I wasted my time getting mad at Persona 4 when I could have been talking about how excited I am for Tactics, but you know, that'll keep the
next week.
It'll keep the viewer coming back.
Yeah.
All right. First one is from Bram. Which beans do you like the most?
Black beans, but
baked
I'm
beans.
Cuban, so I'm
Black beans.
Yeah, I like Heinz baked beans on toast. I had that once in England, and I'm a beans on toast guy now. Not even fucking kidding. I love beans on toast. It's
Wait,
the
what do they
white
do? Is it
person in
literally
me.
just beans and toast? Like, do they
Okay,
flavor
so-
it or?
Yeah, so it's flavored. So basically, beans on toast is like an entire meal. So it comes with like scorched cherry tomatoes, hash browns, English sausage, mushrooms, like grilled mushrooms, good slice of toast, thick slabs of bacon, and usually beans that are cooked in a tomato sauce, like a house-made tomato sauce, like a shakshuka, or Heinz tomato beans. But it's really good because everything really evens it out really well if you eat it together.
So it's like an open-faced sandwich.
It's very, very good. Yeah, but it's all just on a plate. So you just put everything on the toast and you just eat it. Or you can have it individually. I love to put a little bit of beans on my toast, eat that, and then chase it with some mushrooms or bacon.
Oh, yeah. That sounds good.
Bacon sounds so good.
I'm
right
a black
now.
bean guy, but I like most beans because I'm from the Caribbean. So, you know,
Bean good.
staple diet.
Yeah, I order black beans when I'm at the like, you know, Chipotle or whatever. So let's go
There
for
you go.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that question, I filled our white boy quota. So,
Surprised it wasn't
true,
me.
yeah.
yeah.
I gotta be whiter next episode. Speedwagon asks, been playing through Bloodstain Ritual of the Night, completely unrelated to the recent announcement of the sequel, and I've been thinking about Metroidvanias a lot lately, and I'd like the boys to discuss the following. Are the Soulsborne games Metroidvanias or not? Personally, I say yes, especially Dark Souls 1. I've got all the Metroidvanias from FromSoft games grouped together in my Steam library because of this.
I think that's a really interesting question because I'm somebody that really, really likes old school Castlevania. I'm talking like PS1 era,
Yeah.
like all the way going back to SNES. I'm a Castlevania guy. You guys know that. The audience
Mhm.
knows that. I love everything Castlevania except for the Netflix
Yeah.
series. That can fucking eat shit and burn it out.
Yeah.
Hate it so much. And I would say Dark Souls shares vague DNA with games like Symphony of the Night in terms of backtracking and progression, right?
Yes.
Like checkpoints. But I would say that's the only thing they share. That's it. I would not consider them the same kind of game. I would
There's
actually
like-
say, go
Sorry,
ahead.
No. I'll hold on.
Yeah,
to this
it's just like it's like when people were saying Clair Obscur is like a Dark Souls game and it's not, right? It's just because it
Mhm.
has sort of like the vague mechanics of a Dark Souls game.
It
I
has the
think Castle-
exploration elements of it, like the
Yeah.
level
Yeah, the
design of it.
exploration is what
Yeah.
I was thinking, like the
Yeah.
interconnected world and the backtracking and like the
Yeah.
shortcuts and stuff.
But so Devil May Cry 4 had that too because
Yeah.
of budget constraints.
Yeah.
So is Devil May Cry 4 a Souls-like or Metroidvania?
I
It is
mean,
not.
No,
It is
Devil
not.
May Cry 4 still has missions.
I think-
though.
I think
No,
it's like it has.
but the game. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Dark Souls popularized certain like design thingies, like conventions.
That existed
Like-
for like ever, right?
Yeah.
No, but
but they
Jesus said
popularized, it, right? Like they
Yeah.
like
they brought
widely
it back to the
popularized.
they brought it back to the
and I'm
forefront.
saying
Yeah.
those have existed forever. So
yes.
basically, like, just because it's popular now doesn't mean that it didn't exist before. And I think personally, you flatten a lot of that history if you conflate those two things together, right? Like
That's
if
fair.
everything is suddenly like a Souls-like or a Metroidvania or whatever, it's not, because those games deserve to stand on their own. They share a
and to be
vague, similar
clear-
DNA. Yeah.
And to be clear, Metroidvania, even as a term, is still hotly debated because
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
a lot of times
I'm quite fond of search action.
I was gonna say that.
No,
yeah,
I just call them
It's mine.
Igavanias. I just call Metroid, and I call those games Igavanias.
Yeah, because when people say Metroidvania, the Castlevania part of that is just Symphony of the Night and the other one.
Yeah.
And those aren't like Metroid. They share like one aspect of like its level design. Like they
Mhm.
share like one or two things, but people lumped them together. But like other Castlevanias don't do that.
Yeah.
Like other Castlevanias are not like Symphony of the Night. Maybe Castlevanias after Symphony of the Night are more like Symphony of the Night, but like
There was, like, an
traditionally,
era
that's not
of
really
that-
the series.
Of that Game Boy to like DS where all of them were doing that, but like before and
Mhm.
after now.
Yeah. And that's why I
Yeah,
do
be-
like search action as a term.
And I think that applies to some Castlevania games. If you look at like Curse of Darkness, like it's nothing like that. That's a fucking tamer game.
Yeah.
Thr-
And that's like
Castlevania 3D is a fucking platform game. Like
and that's why search action serves as a much more broader term for a genre in the same way we
Mhm.
would like you would hear the word RPG and your head goes, okay, but like that could be 1,000 fucking things, right? I think search action
Exactly.
is a much better term besides Metroidvania because it is much broader and it describes an element that can be combined with other things. Whereas I feel like the term Metroidvania is so specific towards two identities that throwing other things in there sort of muddies that water and it becomes a very poor term to describe the thing that people are actually trying to explain with the word Metroidvania.
exactly.
I hate to give it
distills
to 'em,
something. Oh, go ahead.
But Nintendo not even like humoring that when like they brought Metroid back. What's that fucking one? The side scrolling one that I don't know. But that one
Dread?
and just being like, yeah,
Mhm.
Dread, and it was like, no, we're search action.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah,
Mhm.
cool, because yeah, Metroidvania kind of just like a whatever.
And to answer your question, Speedwagon, my answer is Soulsborne games have search action elements, but I do not think they are predominantly search action games. I think Dark Souls games just fall into more traditional like action adventure shit because like we used to
Mhm.
have that as a term. We don't use it
Yeah.
anymore. But like action adventure is like what I would
And-
consider Souls likes.
And do you want to know why we stopped using that? Because it was being conflated to every single fucking game.
Any game where you were like Ratchet and Clank was action adventure, Zelda was action
Uncharted,
adventure,
yeah.
Uncharted was action adventure. Like it just became like a meaningless term. But yeah, there you go.
Do we have any more questions?
No, I haven't given one answer yet. And I don't mean this dismissively. I mean it more funnily. I don't care.
Yeah, Cullen loved
mean-
game. That's it.
I mean,
Cullen
you're
loved
right,
video
though.
game.
I like when game good.
You're right
Yeah.
though. It is somewhat of a
Yeah.
nothing burger, because if somebody says it's a Metroidvania, even if I don't agree with the term, it's like, I know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stop them and be like, excuse me, Metroidvania. Like, no, we're just gonna have a conversation about the game they want to talk about. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, to me, it's just like, oh, there's a game with backtracking in it. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I
That's-
have an
that's
idea of what
largely
that
it.
is.
yeah.
The,
Game
like,
made me
you know,
backtrack. I Metroidvania. You know, like okay.
I think Metroidvania as well has become very specifically a 2D thing. Mostly because, again, we have a billion indie Metroidvanias and none of them have the sauce of the games that inspired that term, but, that's neither here nor there.
You know, I love it when
Uh,
you speak the truth, Cullen.
God.
I'm not too fond of Hollow Knight.
Whisper more gospel into my ear, Daddy.
I actually don't quite like Hollow Knight either, but I think
I
think
don't
the
like it
world of
either.
Hollow Knight is I think the world
Hollow Knight. It
insisted
upon itself.
But the thing is, I like the aesthetic of Hollow Knight. I love the idea of
Yeah.
a bunch of cute little grubs under the ground.
Oh, yeah.
But I do not like the way that fucking game plays.
Your rooms
I-
are too big. Please.
Yeah, there was like a specific artistic choice. I forget what my complaint was at the time. Something about how like my issue with Hollow Knight would be I would play that game and I'd get really locked in and I would really enjoy what I played, and then I'd get like distracted and I'd come back and I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing and where am I going? I think it's the map. Like the map's very like not great.
Hollow Knight's combat also just doesn't really flourish. It kind of stagnates once you get to like the mid game.
You just jump
There's
around.
yeah,
You know?
you don't have a lot of
Also-
variety and like enemy, because 2D action stuff. If you're
Oh.
not constantly giving players stuff to like play with,
Yeah, it's just not like
what is a boss going to do, right? If you're doing like, I hate to say this, but like it is doing this. It's trying to be like Souls-like stuff in a 2D plane. What are my options? I can jump, or I can run underneath an enemy to avoid attacks. Because I don't think there's a guard in Hollow Knight. So you just like no matter how cool you make a boss fight, my controls and my options are the same. I have to run away or jump to avoid
sometimes you can
attacks.
slide.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
I'm being cheeky. But like,
No, I'm with you. I was gonna springboard into like a different topic, a short one of just like, wow, I sure don't like 2D action games anymore.
yeah.
I get really bored.
And this is why, if you look at like Metroid, if you play Metroid games from like the first one and as it evolves, some of the games aren't as good, but like you can see them realize that, and that's why they have like gimmick fights, because and some people will be like, oh, Nintendo doing another boss fight where you just use a gimmick to beat it, but it's like, no, but like without that, you really are just doing the same shit all the time. Like the gimmicks keep it fresh. The gimmicks
I would
keep it
also
memorable.
say that with Metroid, it's like the fact that you have a gun adds more layers to that combat than just run up / go
Run
back,
away. Yeah.
run up / go back. Because like with Metroid, like with Dread in particular, you're moving and you're shooting and you need to do both at all times and dodge, and it's like it becomes so interesting. I think the last time I ever give any amount of a fuck for a side-scrolling action game is Katana Zero.
Oh, I love Katana Zero. That
Katana
game's
Zero
good.
is so fucking good. I'm still waiting for that fucking DLC. But like, take your time and cook.
Mhm.
Katana Zero was great. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also one of my favorite like anti-imperialist games as well.
Oh, sick.
I want to replay it. I was like,
Now I want to play Katana Zero.
so you
Yeah.
don't want to play it when I say cool things like it suck you crazy
You didn't
style
say
from
it
the
was
back.
anti-establishment,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
but you getting sucked crazy style from the back. Not
If you
good
tell
enough.
me-
need
if
to
you-
know it's
if
got
you-
themes, huh?
If you go, GC, look at this box. Look at this Switch box art of Katana Zero. I'm like, okay, I'm looking. And then you spray paint an anarchy symbol on it and give it back
And
to
you're
me.
like,
I'm like, oh, I'm going to
"Whoa."
play it now. Wow. I'm so easy.
All right. Next up, Adamska asks, hello. hope you're doing well."
Adamska, Revolver
Adamska?
Ocelot. Sorry.
I don't know how it said. But are there any game genres that you didn't get into for a while because you thought you wouldn't enjoy them until you gave it a shot? If so, what was the game and genre? For me, I got into fighting games via Guilty Gear Strive and visual novels via 999, even though I thought I would not enjoy these kind of games, but now I love them.
I like everything. I don't discriminate.
kinda like
I'll give
everything.
yeah. There's no genre that turned me off. There are games that turned me off. For example, World of Warcraft
Yeah.
because of the being bullied by grown adults for not playing their game.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
I got one of
But-
those as well.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
got
Yeah.
like a game that you play that you go, I don't want to associate with the genre anymore, and it was MMOs. And it was Final
MMOs.
Fantasy 14.
Yeah, FF14.
Yeah.
But this is
But that
this
was
is,
mostly Burnout.
But this is the opposite. They're asking if you
Yeah,
got
I know.
if you like avoided one or you were like, I don't know if I like those. and
Okay,
then-
actually, that is funny because the answer for both is Final Fantasy 14.
I'm gonna be honest. Don't you have like aren't you literally an RPG fan because you didn't fuck with RPGs for a really long time and then you
Oh, yeah.
finally played one and you were like, oh my god.
Well, I was playing RPGs all throughout my life, but I didn't like, but it was the stuff like Pokemon, you know.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay, yeah. That's that
but
wouldn't
like
count, I guess.
most of those moments for me were like way like in the past. Like, yeah, I don't have any recent instances of that. Well, because like when I got my hand on like when I played Persona 4 and I started really liking RPGs and I got a Vita, I got literally whatever I could get. Like I was trying to expand my taste
Mhm.
massively. So yeah, like Persona 4 was the game that made me really like broaden my horizons, which is also why I'm going to react very emotionally to that fucking remake. But 14 got me into MMOs, and then my severe burnout of that game got me out of MMOs, and I never want to play one again, mostly because of the subscription.
That can always change. We'll see.
I also think it's a great game, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. I've never like my wonderful co-hosts have said, I've never looked at a genre and been like, ew, no. Literally anything, any genre I'm open to playing, but it's usually like games that need to sort of capture my interest. Like I'll play like I used to maybe have like a dismissal of visual novels, but like it was more so just a problem with like the subject material of visual novels, because there's visual novels that I've played even back then that I was like, oh, but this is great. So yeah, I don't think there's ever been a genre where I've set it aside or thought I wouldn't like it. It's always been a case by case basis on like the game itself and what it's doing.
And lastly, our good friend Matthew.
Hi,
Matthew. What is the weirdest movie you want to see adapted into a video game?
Flash Gordon, the movie.
That's good. You gonna MacGyver shit?
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go play like a fucking Nosferatu, really?
Yeah.
That's just
No, I'm sorry.
vampire.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's a dating sim.
There is a dating
Okay.
sim where you play as a vampire. You should go
No.
play it.
I want to riz up the vampire.
Yeah, you can do that. You play a vampire therapist and you talk to other
Oh,
vampires.
yeah.
No. I want to play.
People have
as
been
a
trying to get me to
human.
play that. Oh, you want to play as Jonathan and you want to... Okay, I understand. I understand what you
I want you to be able to pick between Jonathan and what's the girl's name?
Mina?
Mina. And then you then get to decide how much you want to riz up Gary Oldman.
I was
You
taking
go
a
on
drink, but
dates.
all right.
And
Oh
you
my
go on
god.
dates, and then it's
I think Gary
I think that would be
Oldman's
very cool.
pretty neat.
I think I want Gone Girl.
You know what? I
but
would
that would be
also like
so
Gone Girl.
sick though.
It's like a social deduction game.
Oh, but like no,
Among
but like
Us.
as a detective game where you are like investigating the murder of your own wife, and then like, oh man, and then
Yes.
like it gets deeper, and like things start to. Oh, that would be that'd be sick as hell.
My girlfriend was mentioning how, because she's looking for books to read, she might read Gone Girl. Cause did you say that Gone Girl was a bad book, or did you
Oh,
like
it's
the Gone Girl
excellent.
book?
It's fucking excellent.
I
That
will
Sharp
tell her
Objects are really
to-
good. If she wants like a sort of like light suspense thriller like type book, go read Yellowface. It's really fucking good. It's an easy breezy read. And if she wants something more dense, then I'd suggest Babel.
I will tell her
Still
to
gotta
go
finish
read
that.
Gone Girl.
Just know that Amy Dunn is she's very interesting in the books. I'll put it that way. It's It's really good. Gone Girl's really good.
Hey, Burners, is 100 Line a VN MMO?
No.
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 My fellow Burnouts, tell me some good puns.
Oh, I got one for you.
All right.
I got one for you. Ready? A ghost walks into the bar. The bartender says, "I'm sorry, we don't serve spirits."
Uh,
I don't make jokes. I don't make them. I don't tell them. GC has me covered.
I don't got any like GC, start whipping out those sex puns from that we were going over.
The what?
With, like,
Oh
or,
yeah,
like Rishi or whatever.
She had my dick in 10 pies, so I begged her to make it ron. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I also got. I'll just tell you my favorite joke. It's not a pun, but it's my favorite joke of all time. Guy goes to the doctor. He says, "Doc, I'm depressed." The doctor looks at him. He says, "Oh, great timing. The great clown Pagliacci is in town. You should go see him." The guy says, "But Doc, I am Pagliacci." Why not?
Yeah, those are our questions. Send
There you
your
go.
questions to questions@questions.com.
Yeah, add questions.
I'm your host. Questions.
Well, I guess that's it for this episode.
That's how you tank a podcast episode. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone.
Well,
I'll be here all night, everybody. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Yeah.
All
supposed to
right,
clap.
everybody.
Hey Jake,
All
draw
right.
GC in a miniskirt again.
Don't forget, folks. You know, I'm here every Thursday. You can catch my YouTube shorts of all my stand-up at youtube.com/worldstatuscomedian. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know. Please tell
Hit
me
the
I'm
bell.
funny.
Send me
Well,
a $5.
Yeah.
Happy
Well,
birthdays.
thank you for listening this week, everybody. And you know where to find us. And if you don't, well, I don't know what to tell you or how you got here. Know that we have a Discord you can
Leave.
join. Yeah, no, stay. Don't go.
Get out.
Don't leave me with him.
Stay with me forever. You're never leaving me.
You sounded like Lois Griffin for a second.
Peter. Pina, the chicken's here.
Peter. The audience isn't leaving.
Peter, they're still in our house.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time. Whenever that is.
Bye-bye.
Probably the usual
Bye,
schedule, but
everybody.
We'll see you then. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.